Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. Today I just wanted to discuss another revelation that I had while reading Brave New World. Yeah, I do allude to that book a lot. I never specifically talked about this though. Today's topic is that there can only be so many alphas. So, if you are not familiar with the book Brave New World, what I mean by alphas are that they actually bred children in a lab. People did not give birth naturally in this book. And they had one small group of the top rated individuals who were considered alphas. And then below them were betas, and below them were deltas, and then I believe gammas, if I'm remembering correctly. And the reason that this actually came to mind is because I was also once reading a book by John Holt in which he spoke about his experience as a teacher and how he noticed that it was impossible for a student to move from one section to another, at least seemingly impossible. He had a little girl in a third grade class who could read so much better than all of the kids in her class. She was put in a class that had children who were very slow at picking up reading. And this child was a fluent reader, and he noticed, I believe he was substituting in this class, but he was a long-term substitute. He noticed that this little girl did not belong in this class at all. She was far ahead of the other kids. So he spoke to the principal about it, and the principal really gave him a hard time about moving this little girl out of the class. And John Holt is not the only one who speaks about this. John Taylor Gatto, I believe, also spoke about how it was seemingly impossible for a child to get taken out of one grouping of kids in school and placed in another group. And I always wondered to myself, I certainly believed it. I saw it with my own eyes when I was in school, but I never quite understood why. What is the point of all of this? And then when I was reading Brave New World, it kind of hit me, because in the book Brave New World, they said something to the effect of, you can only have so many alphas. And what they were saying is that they didn't need a whole lot of those top rated individuals. They needed the people at the lower echelon, the lower rungs of the ladder, because they were the worker bees. They were the ones who kept things going. And if you look at the school system the way that it is, it makes sense there too. I remember when, and also I have to say that in Brave New World, the different classes, the different groups were discouraged from socializing, from fraternizing with one another. I think that like the alphas and betas could hang out together, but they were discouraged from ever having anything to do with the deltas and the gammas because, they were lower than they were. And really that is something that was instilled in me, maybe not, the teachers might not have said it in so many words, but just in insinuations when I was in school. I was in the gifted honors program, and we really had this idea placed into our heads that all of the other kids in our grade were lower than we were, especially those down at what we would call the LD group, the learning disabilities groups. And we just had, it was, the L might as well have stood for leprosy. It was that bad. We just always had this notion, it was always kind of instilled in us that children like that were lower than us. And it always seemed that for us, we were the top group. They went by sections when I was in school. I was in the top section, and so there were only maybe 20 of us, and everyone else was kind of lower. And so just thinking about John Holt and then thinking about Brave New World, that it really does make sense. It makes more sense for the school system to have only a few children who are given somewhat of a better education so that they can get those managerial positions so that they can, maybe possibly get executive positions. I don't know that I would particularly call like the gifted kids in public schools the alphas, maybe betas at best, because the alphas would definitely be reserved for the children of the elite. But the fact is that those deltas and those gammas, those children in the lower sections, there are so many of them because if you think about it, not only is the school an indoctrination camp, but it is a jobs program. And we know this to be true. When my kids were in school, they would bring in like local companies and they would have partnerships with the schools and everything. And the schools really are a jobs program. And what sort of a job wouldn't need more of those worker bees, those people who were not given an education that they might be able to move up in the world? We do need what people would call those the serving classes. I'm not sure what else to call them. And so to me, we do need those serving classes. And I'm definitely not putting down people who work in those jobs, because we would not be able to function without them. But I'm realizing that I think a lot of kids are held down simply because there is the knowledge that we are going to need people to fulfill more of those jobs. And rather than giving these kids the opportunity to one day grow up and to choose to be in that sort of industry, they're kind of suppressed and kept down there so that they don't have a choice, so that there's never a time that we don't have the people that we really need to fill our needs. And really, that's all that I had for you today. It was just something that I thought about and wanted to share. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram or possibly here. Sometimes I have comments lately. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.